was just attempting suicide the other week. Many families are seeking lawsuits against individuals and hemp businesses who impersonate medical professionals and sell these products under false claims. This establishment in Odessa, Texas, is not selling medicine. THC in any form can cause episodes of psychosis, and psychosis is when a person experiences paranoia, delusions, and hallucinations. Psychosis is a state of suffering. It's where an increased risk of a person has in harming themselves and others. In Houston, a teen just shot his mother and sister after having bad emotions from THC edibles. We are sick and tired of the hemp industry stating no one dies from THC. Texas and the federal government does not track THC-related deaths. Most coroners do not test for THC in suicides and with perpetrators who commit homicides. The public should know an extensive study published in the National Institute of Health concluded 47% of people who experience cannabis-induced psychosis will convert to chronic psychiatric disorders such as schizophrenia. This is not reefer madness, this is reefer science. And this is a significant factor in the increase of homelessness and crime in Texas. Additionally, these products are toxic. Many people are experiencing CHS, cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, which is a disabling and painful condition that can lead to dehydration, organ failure, seizures, and no, THC is not safer than alcohol. When a person is at a toxic level of alcohol, they can usually vomit it out and achieve homeostasis because it's a water-soluble drug. When a person is at toxic levels of THC, they can't necessarily vomit it out because it's a fat-soluble drug that adheres to the fats in our bodies. Texans don't want their tax money to enable this industry. They don't want to grow their government trying to make. In Colorado, it was practically impossible to get more regulations on THC products. Over 50 organizations advocated to get a potency cap on our THC products. It failed. Later in this press conference, you are going to hear from families that have been devastated by Texas hemp-derived THC. It is very difficult to speak publicly about how THC has harmed our families. The hemp organizations and advocates bully and harass us. For example, they posted a picture of one of my former residents on social media, and they call me horrible names. And back in 2019, when I started educating Texans about the true impacts of THC, Texas Cannabis Collective sent their pot army to censor my voice on Facebook. They screamed that this is about freedom to use, but they sure don't care about the freedom of speech or allowing the public to be informed about the risks of consuming THC. They continue to deny the risk and blame and shame the families, and then harm us into silence. I ask them this: where is the freedom of the people hospitalized from cannabis psychosis? Where is the freedom of the mother and the daughter that were shot by the son in Houston? And why is the media not demanding toxicology reports from the Uvalde shooter and making sure his tissue was tested for THC? I am also tired of the whining and complaining from the hemp industry that they will lose jobs. They chose an industry that sells poison. It's a poor business decision, and they are capable of getting other jobs in Texas' booming economy. I lost my dream job during my son's addiction and psychosis. It wasn't safe for him to be home with my younger son, so I had to be present to make sure everybody was safe. We also ended up losing all our equity to pay for my son's treatment. In time, I recovered. I got other jobs. So they are capable of getting other jobs too. And I'm tired of them acting like they can't. If the hemp industry successfully pressures Governor Abbott into vetoing SB 3, we will have thousands more families harmed. The drug and mental illness crisis will increase, and we will all pay the price. Next, I would like to bring up Dr. Rossheim.
Rossheim. I'm an associate professor at the University in Texas, and I also serve as scientific advisor for Texans for Safe and Drug-Free Youth. I've authored more than 100 peer-reviewed research manuscripts, and in recognition of this work, I've been awarded the 2025 Advocate of the Year Award by CADCA, the largest substance use prevention NGO in the United States, representing more than 7,000 community coalitions, including 100 coalitions in Texas. So for the last 17 years, I've studied the marketing, regulation, use, and health impacts of intoxicating substances. My research has consistently shown how certain industries exploit laws to sell harmful products. But in 17 years, I've never seen such highly potent, dangerous, and illegal substances being sold so openly and widely as they are in Texas today. The industry asks us to imagine how dangerous things might become if marijuana were sold illegally in Texas. But we don't have to use our imaginations, because that's exactly what's happening today. Right now, the so-called hemp industry is selling extremely potent, synthetic, and often illegal marijuana products throughout the state. Current laws make it nearly impossible for law enforcement or even consumers to know which products are legal and which are not. And the distinctions that do exist are largely meaningless when it comes to protecting community health and safety. I'd like to take a moment to address a few inaccurate claims that are made today by the psychoactive hemp industry and provide some facts to refute these claims. First, I'd like to address the aspect of farmers in Senate Bill 3. Senate Bill 3 specifically addresses health and safety code in the Texas Constitution and has nothing to do with agriculture code. There's nothing in Senate Bill 3 that applies to farmers, and the farmers in Texas will be able to continue to farm hemp this year at the same as they were, and next year the same as they were this year and the year before. I'd also like to remind everyone here that under current Texas law, section 443 subsection 204, the processing or manufacturing of a hemp product for smoking is illegal in Texas under current law. So any farmers that are saying that they're growing hemp for smoking purposes are doing so unlawfully according to the current law. I'd also like to note that the state of Texas currently has approximately 125 million acres of farm and ranch land today, and information requests filed with the Texas Department of Agriculture show that only 181 acres of hemp were harvested and tested in Texas last year. This is information that's legally required to be reported to the Texas Department of Agriculture. So only about 1/1,000,000th of the total farm and ranch land in Texas. The idea that SB 3 will cause drastic damage to the Texas farming industry is a fake narrative. And practices. Colorado. These extremely high potency products often also include synthetic THC variants like THCP, which are often marketed as being 33 times more potent than naturally grown cannabis. All the stores that I visited also sold products that contained at least 90% THC, dramatically increasing the risks for serious mental health issues like psychosis, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression. These products are not only potent, they're designed to appeal to young people. Brightly colored packaging, cartoon characters, and imitations of popular snack brands substantially increase the risk of accidental ingestion by kids. 2017 to 2020 calls for children 5 years and younger. As you can see here in this image, these retailers sell many dangerous products, substances even beyond marijuana, including hallucinogenic mushrooms, inhalants like nitrous oxide and nitrate poppers, high-potency synthetic kratom products that interact with opioid receptors, some in the form of flavored ice cream cones, and even tianeptine, commonly known as gas station heroin. Many of these products are packaged and marketed in ways that make them both appealing and accessible to young people. Despite clear prohibitions under federal and state laws, these products are openly sold and deceptively marketed. These are not medicine nor wellness products. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration warns consumers to not use any of these. And it's not just a handful of bad actors. The largest retail chains in Texas, which set the standard for the industry, routinely disregard and jeopardize the health and safety of our communities. While many of these products sold by these stores are clearly illegal, even more deliberately exploit legal gray area, making enforcement extremely challenging. In public statements, Governor Abbott has explicitly reiterated that marijuana remains illegal in Texas. As stated in his letter signed by Lieutenant Governor Patrick and Speaker Bonin in 2019 upon signing House Bill 1325, quote, "Marijuana has not been decriminalized in Texas. Criminals should be on notice that they may continue to be prosecuted for possession of marijuana and may now be prosecuted for illegal possession of hemp without a proper certificate. Yet, due to the industry's exploitation of legal ambiguities, marijuana products are sold openly in our communities, putting everyone, particularly our youth, in serious danger. Senate Bill 3 directly addresses these issues by clearly defining what is legal and providing law enforcement with the tools that they need to effectively enforce the law. We respectfully urge Governor Abbott to sign Senate Bill 3 into law. Governor Abbott, your decisive action on Senate Bill 3 will help ensure the health, safety, and future of all Texans. We deeply appreciate your courageous leadership on this critical health issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Busheim. And now I am honored to bring up Representative David Lowe.
Good afternoon. As a veteran who struggled with combat-related PTSD, I've lived through the struggle. Every doctor and every counselor I worked with, military and civilian, gave me the same urgent advice: stay away from THC. It doesn't heal, it numbs the symptoms, gives false comfort, and delays the real work of recovery. That's why I'm deeply troubled that veterans are being used as props to push unregulated THC. We must stop exploiting veterans' pain to promote products that aren't proven, aren't regulated, and in many cases aren't safe. Veterans deserve treatment rooted in truth, not marketing. Now the data is catching up. THC-related injuries are skyrocketing. And the more I've learned about the side effects of recreational THC, the more disappointed and frankly alarmed I've become at how little regulation exists in Texas today. There may be legitimate uses for some hemp products, but we cannot pretend that this unregulated flood of intoxicating substances is safe. It's not. It's reaching children and young adults, and it's being marketed in slick packaging with no guardrails, no accountability, no concern for the long-term consequences. Some have accused me of being a shill for Big Pharma. Let me be clear. I have serious ethical issues with Big Pharma. In 2024, a few of my colleagues and I signed a pledge to not accept a single dime from pharmaceutical companies. And I still stand by that pledge today. My support for SB 3 has nothing to do with pharmaceutical companies and has everything to do with protecting Texas families. I believe passing Senate Bill 3 is one of the greatest accomplishments of this legislative session. And I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick for his strong, steady leadership when it mattered most. Because of that, Texas is safer today. God bless Texas.
Thank you. Now, Nicole, yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Nicole Holt. I'm CEO of Texans for Safe and Drug-Free Youth, the statewide nonprofit focused on preventing youth substance use by using evidence-based prevention strategies that create healthier and safer communities. SB 3 protects Texas youth. Research tells us that when product access increases, use also increases. In our state, there is unprecedented access to intoxicating cannabis and cannabis-derived products with no limitations on products themselves or their marketing strategies. For the past several years, our coalition members have been collecting images of the products. No matter where you go in this state, these products are everywhere. In addition to vape stores, these products are in kiosks, in malls, next to kid zones. They're in vending machines, in practically every gas station and convenience store. I have watched folks claim recently in public forums that cannabis use is safe, that no one dies from cannabis use, but that simply isn't true. The evidence is clear. 13% of Texas middle and high school students report using cannabis, and 1 in 4 high school seniors are using the drug. You will hear people here today discuss the dangers of early cannabis use and its long-term consequences, increasing the risk of addiction, harming brain development, and contributing to mental health issues such as depression and psychosis. What you never hear people discussing is the impaired driving consequences resulting from use of these intoxicating products. In Texas, while alcohol remains the leading cause of fatal crashes, alcohol combined with cannabis is the second most common cause of deadly impaired driving crashes in our state. The combination of alcohol and cannabis is the most common drug combination in impaired driving crashes in our state as well. And young drivers are particularly at risk. 26% of crash fatalities among those 25 and younger involve both cannabis and alcohol. Those are real lives. Those deaths are someone's life ended too soon. Those families will never be the same. And when there's an impaired driver on the road, we are all at risk. Parents, teachers, law enforcement, and community leaders are all saying the same thing. These products should not be easy for kids to get and need to be removed from Texas shelves. I encourage the governor to sign SB 3 into law and to help keep our children and communities safe. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Christine. Until 2 years ago, I knew nothing about THC. Then we got the phone call that changed everything. My son did not start using THC until after college graduation at the age of 22, a full-grown adult. Within 8 months, he was using every day and was addicted. He had no previous mental health concerns. THC products in all forms today are addictive and causing symptoms of psychosis, including delusions, paranoia, and auditory and visual hallucinations. Long-term, which means 1 year or more, heavy, which means 3 times a week or more, use of THC increases both anxiety and depression. The industry does not tell you that when you will build up a tolerance and your brain will crave greater quantities, more often, or at increased potency. Anxiety and depression
are two of the very conditions that THC is touted as being beneficial for. It simply is not. What it is beneficial for is lining the pocketbooks of the intoxicating hemp industry. This is an addiction for profit industry that has no concern for the negative consequences of its products. Most of the individuals who are being diagnosed with cannabis-induced psychotic disorder had no previous mental health conditions. When the industry tells you otherwise, it is just another piece of their incorrect rhetoric that they are weaving into the very fabric of our society. They use terms like finding relief, God's medicine, all natural. These products are anything but natural. They are highly potent, addictive, and causing devastating symptoms and outcomes for thousands, including my loved one. In 2023, 19.2 million people had a cannabis use disorder, that number driven by these THC products. This spring, on walks in my neighborhood, I found 3 empty vape cartridge packages. This bag contains those, plus one I found in my son's car, and 2 that I purchased to get an idea of just what was out there. These products are from 60 to 80%, over 80% potency of THC. Their wrappers are littering our neighborhoods, and their contents are addicting millions of people. Most people who use them do not even realize they have a substance use disorder. The industry is following the playbook of big tobacco. Cigarettes were called nicotine delivery devices. These vapes can be called THC delivery devices, and I call them addiction delivery devices. We do not need to wait 50 years before we announce to the public that these products are harmful. I call on our national government to produce a high-profile public awareness campaign spelling out the harms of THC. We and you need to do that now. We do not need more addiction delivery devices in Texas. We have enough of them already. It is truly unbelievable that we are having to fight to ban products that often and easily induce psychosis for thousands. Methamphetamine used to lead the way as the drug that induced psychosis the most. Meth has been replaced by THC as the drug leading to psychosis most often. Would the governor, our legislators, or our general public be fine with smoke shops and gas stations selling meth to people of all ages? No. If the federal government cannot close the loophole it created with the 2018 Farm Bill, then Texas will close its own loophole. I ask Governor Abbott to stop this literal insanity and to do what is right by supporting SB 3 to save Texans' brains and their futures. Texans' brains are worth infinitely more than any amount of tax revenue the intoxicating hemp industry can provide. I've got a lot more to say. I know I need to leave time for other people. I just wanted to say this is the hemp that we thought we were producing, a dime bag's backpack. This is what we got, okay? That's what our legislators accidentally legalized. I would invite you to learn more about THC, be a lifesaver, and go to these websites. I've got information and products up here for you to come talk to me about, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Maddie. I want to thank our legislators for tireless working on the much needed SB 3 bill. Thank you also to the doctors who have shared their research and knowledge. But most of all, I want to thank my friends in this group, a group I never imagined I'll be part of. These women right here are the real heroes. Let me say it again. These women right here are the real heroes. Despite everything they had been through, they continue to share their heartbreaking stories to prevent other families from going through the same pain. Most of their children were over 21 years when they started using THC products. My son used to do freelance camera work for political, corporate, and church events. His schedule often changed, so he thought hemp-derived THC gummies would be a better option to help him sleep than medicines. He was 20. He was healthy, kind, and productive with a successful career ahead of him. He had never shown any sign of mental illness, and there's no history of it in our family. Over time, he began using other products like cookies, lollipops, and vapes. What began as an occasional use gradually turned into dependency. Even though he was still productive, his behavior started to change. Then, at age 27, he had a full psychotic break. He lacks awareness of his illness because he's an adult and is not considered harmful or danger to himself or others. We have been unable to get him the dual treatment he needs. Treatment that will cost us about $25,000 a month. After a year without THC products, he was beginning to improve. Sadly, he relapsed with a vape, still believing it will help him stay alert. This particular THCP, as mentioned before, is a kind of vape to be up to 33 times more potent than regular THC. Within days, strong and new psychotic symptoms started to appear. THC-induced psychosis is real. It can happen to people with no history of mental illness. People using these products are gambling with their health, assuming that if something is legal, it must be safe. Any profits the industry claims to bring to the state are minimal compared to the harm and financial burden to our families. Our son is fully dependent on our help and is struggling with hallucinations and impaired cognition. It is difficult to run our business now, and we are using our retirement funds to support him and cover up our living expenses. It has been 2 heartbreaking years for the whole family. All of this could have been prevented. I respectfully urge Governor Abbott to sign SB 3 into law. This bill is long overdue. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rhonda. I'm a Houston citizen, and I have a son who is diagnosed with cannabis-induced psychosis. He is now 24, will be 25 soon, and this industry has paralyzed his brain. He went off to college, started right here in Texas, and started using marijuana occasionally for mild anxiety. He came home his sophomore year during Christmas, and he and friends hung out every day using products from the local vape store around the corner, different things, edibles, vape pens, until he became psychotic. Took him to the hospital, and the only thing that was in his system was THC. He exited there, went back to school, me not knowing how THC impacted his brain to the point where an addiction can happen, to the point where continued use of the product would continue to bring him back to a psychotic state. I didn't know. The education wasn't there. Once understanding and realizing what this drug was doing to my son, tried to get him into a dual diagnosis program. But guess what? They don't treat THC addiction. They treat alcohol addiction, they treat opioid addiction, but not THC. So he was not accepted. Insurance wouldn't pay for it. Found a program out of state minimum payment, $5,000, $6,000 a month. Who can afford that? Charged up credit cards to get him treatment. To this day, he still thinks marijuana is okay because of that state that he was brought to. The passage of the 2018 Farm Bill has led to the misperception that all products made from or containing hemp, including those made with CBD, are now legal to sell through interstate commerce, through online and in storefronts. The storefronts here in Houston alone are multiplying. Just from the time that I came and testified a few months ago, there's a new one that's opened up around the corner from me. These are within blocks of each other. Why do we need so much? We don't. These aren't health centers. These are hell centers, is what I call them. We as Texans have to stop putting revenue over reality. The reality that these synthetic cannabinoids are causing serious physical and mental health conditions. We ask that the governor stand by the vote of the House and Senate and sign SB 3 into law. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you to all these families. Before we bring more families up, I'm going to make a kind request to the gentleman that's here from the hemp industry. We respect you. We're not coming after you. We need you to quit smirking and imitating these families right now. It's very difficult for them to be here today from the harassment they've already endured and the bullying. So I'm going to kindly ask you if you could please exit the room so we can continue our press conference. You can access these videos. They will be on social media. And I'm really, we really want them to be able to speak the truth. The public deserves to know the truth. Thank you. I would appreciate it if you would quit smirking. You are free to be here. I'm kindly asking you to stop smirking and intimidating the families.
And we would appreciate if you left.
I'll respond to this.
It's not your turn.
Hi, my name's Dee Dee. I'm a business owner, a wife, a mother, and for the past 3 years, our family has endured imaginable pain. Our son started vaping Delta 8s, Delta 9s, THC in college, and what began as harmless habit quickly spiraled into a mental health crisis. He became paranoid, delusional, and convinced that the CIA and the Illuminati were following him. He dropped out of school. His condition completely unraveled. We went through ER visits, psychiatric hospitals, 4 treatment centers, all costing thousands of dollars, and even out-of-state rehabilitation centers because of the lack of medical knowledge here in Texas. Each giving us different answers, but never a lasting solution. In March of 2024, after a suicide attempt, he was finally hospitalized and given a genetic test that revealed which medication, after trials of different medications, would work best with him. This medication has us doing weekly blood work that has to go up to the REM system and getting weekly amounts of pills from different pharmacies who can fill it. And this is his prolonged psychotic episode turned into severe chronic mental illness. Today, he not only lives with this debilitating condition, also major side effects from the medication, hypertension, depression, and medicated-induced liver disease and pre-diabetic. This medicine helps manage the symptoms of psychosis, but it comes at a heavy cost. If I had known, or we had known, the dangers of these unregulated THC products, this might have prevented us being here today. In the world of cannabis-induced psychosis, we as families, we struggle to fight for our loved ones' well-being and put them back in the path of wellness. It's a dark, horror-filled war against unseen enemies. Delusions, hallucination, depression all become weapons of mass destruction. And unlike the ability we have to heal physical wounds, fixing mental ills of people is not easy. And many of the solutions require much trial and error. And unfortunately, many of our families or our children return back to cannabis to help regulate their feelings. I would urge Governor Abbott to please sign Senate Bill 3 for other children and for their health. Thank you.
My name is Ivana Ponte. I'm here on behalf of Every Brain Matters, Citizens for a Safe and Healthy Texas, on behalf of HTC Youth Center, on behalf of my family, your family. My entire family has been deeply affected by hemp-derived THC products. My loved one was not underage when they began using poisonous substances. They went from being loving and kind member of our family to someone consumed by anger and violence, harming not only themselves, but others as well. They ended up in the hospital multiple times with psychosis and now faces astronomical and overwhelming medical bills. We were forced to sell our home and relocate and keep our address private from this loved one to avoid being terrorized in person. It is outrageous to hear that businesses are making billions of dollars at the expense of thousands of families like mine. You cannot regulate a predatory for-profit industry like this. They are turning people into addicts while enlarging their pockets. They are not generating new money. The money is already here in the state. It's the same money circulating, but now just going up in smoke. I respectfully urge Governor Abbott to ban this poison and sign SB 3 into law. I ask you, Governor Abbott, for you, for your family, for ours, for your grandchildren, for our grandchildren. I could say, let's be a drug-free Texas. Well, we could start here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm from Katy, Texas. I'm a parent of 3 children, and all of my children have attended the Katy ISD school district. So my story that I'm going to tell you is about what happens when the preteens and the adolescents get their hands on synthetic THC vapes. My daughter was very well adjusted, very happy, no family history of any mental illness. In 9th grade, all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, she's having a panic attack in her 9th grade Spanish class. Unbeknownst to me, she had started experimenting with the THC vapes and doing them on a fairly regular basis to alleviate her anxiety. This led to a cycle of depression, deepening anxiety, deepening the depression, and one morning at 3 a.m., I simply got a text message from her, "Mommy, help me." I didn't get it till I woke up the next morning, and when I went to go ask her what she's talking about, she's telling me she's having suicidal thoughts and she can no longer control what's going on inside of her head. I immediately jumped into action like most parents do and sought the help of psychologists for a professional diagnosis, of which of course was anxiety and depression. But she struggles with breaking the addiction of using synthetic THC vapes. That was 3 years ago. She has improved. She went through years of psychologists on a weekly basis and treatment to help her manage her emotions. Where is she now? She's struggling still with breaking that addiction to the synthetic THC vapes. So I ask all of the media here, if you don't believe our stories as parents, go ask a Katy ISD administrator. Talk to the principals of the high schools. Talk to your junior highs. Ask the teachers. How many of these kids are using the synthetic THC vapes, and what correlation does that make to the increases in anxiety, depression, and suicide among our children right now? Our house is located directly across the street from a 6A high school within a 5-mile radius. there are at least 5 vape shops with their neon signs, free THC, come and get it. That doesn't even include the junior highs. So we're in one of the largest school districts in the state of Texas, thousands and thousands of high get their hands on a sour gummy worm loaded with THC with potency levels that are not accurately marked, or go ahead and buy a synthetic THC cartridge. Go home and smoke that and share it with your friends and then see what it's doing to their mental well-being. So we're not lobbyists, we're not making money off this, we're just parents with kids that need a little bit of help from Governor Abbott. Thank you.
My name is Bruna. We need the Governor Abbott to sign SB3 into law. I beg you for complete ban of all THC products. Our family has already paid the price financially and emotionally. We should not be negotiating people's health and lives. My son was friendly, big heart, gifted student, Taekwondo black belt, attending religious education, went to church weekly. We cherished memories on family vacations, camping with friends, Boy Scouts, caring, excellent student. His behavior changed after he started using THC. He was 14 years old. He could not finish high school, lost his childhood friends, and began to lie and withhold information from us. He stopped attending church with us, struggled to maintain simple conversations, and found it increasingly difficult to socialize or keep a job. His health deteriorated and lost weight. His once beautiful smile just disappeared. After using THC sold in vape shops in our neighborhood, my son became not reasoning, not able to express himself. My husband and I had to hide kitchen knives and sleep with our bedroom door locked. At that point, of course, I had to quit my job and my public health classes at UT. A few days before his first psychotic episode in February 14, 24, he displayed signs of lethargy and took an unusually long time to respond to simple questions. Then he began hearing voices from our backyard. He ran out of the house barefoot without his driver's license. He drove on the wrong side of a major highway and was involved in not one, but 2 different car accidents. He thought he was bleeding to death, and he walked himself across the street to the Memorial Home. He was restrained by 5 police officers. No, he was not bleeding. He was still in psychosis. He thought he was dying. He didn't have anything from those accidents, but he thought he was bleeding, he was dying. We spent 4 nights in a hotel. He said he saw ghosts in our home, and he asked us to put him to sleep. He was aggressive. He punched huge holes in our walls. We had to call 911. He was sedated and was admitted a second time in the behavioral hospital in Houston. And this is followed by the third. You can imagine causes of all this. At that point, 2 hospitals actually accept him. He's somewhat stable. He's mentally there yet to secure a job and everything. We paid $2,000 for sober living. And hopefully one day our family goes back to normal. Governor Abbott signed SB 3 stop this nightmare from happening to other families.